Welcome to the AI for Career Success podcast by Curt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. This is episode 135, and I'm your host, Fred.
And I'm Daphne. Hello, and welcome.
Today, we're looking at some material suggested by our producer, Curt Robbins.
That's right. We're pulling insights from a really powerful conversation with Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang. It's from his appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience.
The goal here is pretty clear, right? We want to translate what's happening at the absolute peak of Silicon Valley into a real career strategy for you.
Exactly. How do you navigate this incredible speed of AI development and make sure your career really thrives?
And we have to start with that speed. The numbers are just staggering.
They really are. Jensen Huang points out that AI capability has grown by something like 100 times in just the last 2 years?
100 times, that sounds, completely out of control. How can safety and all the necessary checks and balances even begin to keep up with that?
Well, that's the first big insight, and it's one that helps manage that fear. A huge portion of that computational power isn't just to make AI smarter or faster.
Yeah.
It's being channeled directly into making it safer, more reliable.
So what does that look like in practice? We hear so much about AI hallucinating or making things up.
Right, and this is the fix. The power is used to force the AI to think more deeply, to reflect.
To check its own work.
Precisely. It performs research before it answers. It has to ground its results in documented facts. It's like using that 100x speed to install a rigorous quality control system.
Which dramatically cuts down on those hallucinations.
It does. And this fear about the speed, it connects to a bigger picture, this idea that humanity is losing control of the technology race.
But that's not exactly new, is it?
Not at all. We've always been in a technology race. Think about the Industrial Revolution or the Manhattan Project or, the Cold War. New tech always grants what feel like superpowers, whether it's information or energy or military might.
But the CEO himself seems to push back against the most extreme fears, the idea of a sudden AI takeover moment.
He does. His view is much more optimistic and I think realistic. Because the tech is so accessible, we're all sort of co-evolving with it. We're standing on the shoulders of AI, so to speak.
So when the next big breakthrough happens, we're not cavemen seeing fire for the first time.
Exactly. We'll be just a clip ahead, already part of that next phase. It's much more gradual than the sci-fi scenarios would have you believe.
Okay, let's bring this down from the 30,000-foot view to the anxiety that I think every professional listening right now is feeling. Job replacement.
And there's no better case study for this than the radiologist paradox.
Right. This is such a perfect example.
It is, because it just completely defied the expert consensus. About a decade ago, the prediction was that AI would wipe out radiologists entirely within 5 years.
Because an algorithm can study an image faster and maybe even more accurately than a person.
But what actually happened?
The complete opposite.
The exact opposite. The number of radiologists has actually gone up. And this is the absolute core insight for your career longevity.
Okay, so break that down. Why?
AI automated the task, the tedious, repetitive task of scanning thousands of images and measuring things. But the radiologist's purpose, the real job, was enhanced.
The diagnosis, the clinical judgment.
Yes. Synthesizing that data with a patient's history, communicating risk, making the final call, the hard stuff.
And the complexity of the job actually grew. Now they're dealing with these complex 3D and 4D scans, and they can handle a much higher volume.
Which improves the hospital's economics, and that in turn creates demand for more of these human experts who can make sense of it all.
So that's the principle for everyone listening. If your job is just a task that can be automated,
you are at high risk. Your security depends on shifting your focus from the task to the higher purpose.
Give us another example. A lawyer's purpose is helping people, but that's a bit broad.
Okay, think about litigation. The task is discovery sifting through 1 million documents. AI can do that instantly now. That frees up the lawyer to focus on their real purpose. Courtroom strategy, client empathy, negotiating a complex settlement, things that require human nuance.
So you stop being a document generator and you become a strategic advisor who uses AI as a tool.
That's it. And that's where the value is. The professional who understands why the AI is suggesting something and can apply human context, ethical, legal, market context, that person becomes indispensable.
And of course, there's the other side of the coin. AI will create jobs we can't even imagine right now.
He mentioned technicians to maintain robots, which is obvious.
And my favorite designers for robot apparel.
It sounds funny, but it makes a point. When you have standardized machines everywhere, customization and design become a new industry. It's the same lesson from every single industrial revolution.
Let's take a brief break for a special message from our producer, Curt Robbins.
Hi, this is Curt Robbins. First, thanks for listening. I truly appreciate your support. I want to let you know that I'm currently accepting new clients. My rates are affordable, and I have more than 25 years of experience working for enterprise companies like Microsoft, Northrop Grumman, Oracle, PNC Bank, FedEx, USAA, and Wells Fargo, among many others. If you want to improve your IT documentation and communications, hire me. I deliver fast, know how to use AI to improve efficiency and accuracy, and love going the extra mile to satisfy my clients. Thank you for subscribing and listening. Back to you, Daphne and Fred.
Welcome back to the AI for Career Success podcast. So before the break, we were talking about securing your future by focusing on purpose over task.
And now let's talk about the engine that's actually going to create that future. Accelerated computing.
Right. This is the infrastructure built by companies like Nvidia. Huang has a great name for it. He calls it Moore's Law on energy drinks.
It's a perfect analogy. Because it's not just about speed, it's about efficiency.
100,000-fold performance improvement over the last 10 years. And what's crucial is that this massively drops the cost and the energy needed for each computation.
Which makes complex AI practical and accessible for everyone, not just huge labs.
And it's so important to remember where this all began. It wasn't built on some government supercomputer. It ran on just 2 consumer graphics cards, 2 GTX 580s you could buy off the shelf.
Wow. So this revolution was, in a way, democratized from the very beginning.
It was. It proves massive innovation can come from accessible tools.
What's really interesting is how he connects this technology engine directly to national policy. He's a huge advocate for reindustrializing the U.S.
This goes way beyond just chip design. It's about national security, economic resilience.
You can't just design the chips, you have to build them here.
And building those factories, the infrastructure for AI takes enormous industrial capacity. And that, in turn, requires a massive growth in energy.
You can't have industrial growth without energy growth. It's a direct link.
And if that industrial growth doesn't happen here, then the jobs that AI is supposed to create, the builders, the maintainers, the automation engineers, they'll be created somewhere else.
So these policies directly impact the job market for you, the listener. It creates demand for logistics experts, supply chain managers, factory engineers, high-value careers.
High-value careers that combine that traditional knowledge with managing AI-driven systems.
Speaking of high value, the last piece of this is, it's a really profound look into the mindset of a top achiever like Jensen Huang.
It really is. He admits that his whole drive isn't really fueled by the joy of success.
It's fueled by the fear of failure.
A constant, crushing fear of failure. He said he feels like he's 30 days from going out of business and has felt that way for over 30 years.
Even while leading one of the most valuable companies in the world, that just runs so counter to the image we have of these leaders, you know?
Yeah.
Unshakable confidence.
But that vulnerability is actually a key asset, especially when your field is moving at 100x speed.
How so?
Because humility is what allows you to adapt. If you pretend you're always right, you can't pivot. That fear of failure forces you to constantly reassess everything. Are we wrong? Is the situation worse than we think?
It lets you tear down your own successful ideas.
And rebuild them from scratch. It also creates a culture where your employees feel safe to bring you bad news, to point out flaws. And that feedback loop is what keeps a company from being crushed by the next wave of technology.
It also grounds the whole idea's success. It's not about being born a genius. He talks about his own background, coming to the U.S. as a kid, cleaning toilets.
A powerful reminder. It's about the will, the resilience, the relentless drive to adapt. You don't need an Ivy League degree. You need that work ethic.
So let's bring it all home. I think it's this. To thrive, you have to constantly reassess your own value.
Stop defining your work by the tasks you perform.
And focus intensely on the indispensable purpose of your role, that human element of judgment, of synthesis and strategy that AI, for all its power, just can't touch.
Thank you for listening to the AI for Career Success podcast from Curt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. We'll see you next time.